Alright guys, welcome back. Game number 2 in this series. coLcast presents HoN Tour Live, the losers round of 4 of Cycle 3. Game number 2 between tdM and Lions. That is such a long title. I've got to find a way to shorten that a little bit. But I'm your casting host, Beef, and joining me is BreakyCPK and the HoNcast staff. Breaky, thanks for being here once again.
Yeah, no problem. You know, to make it easy, we could just start saying we have tdM versus Lion. It's an important match for HoN Tour. There you go.
There you go.
Make it simple like that, because that's really what matters in the end, I guess. But
you're the master.
Excited to see what happens.
You're the master. You've got all the experience, but yeah, I mean, tdM just absolutely looking phenomenal in game number 1. They were able to get a strong lineup, and they executed it really without flaw. In Lions, they're going to have to do a lot better in that laning stage. They're going to have to win some of the lanes and maybe even get a little bit stronger of a draft if they want to take game number 2 and try to extend this series.
Yeah, it's fair to say tdM in the end is perhaps the better team than Lions, but no way are they that much better than Lions. That was just simply a game that got out of hand really for Lions early on from the laning phase, and we're not going to recover. So again, I'm kind of hoping that here we have in game 2, which does happen often, where they get stomped the first game, they at least come back in game 2 and make it a very, very solid game. If not force a third game. So I can't wait to see that. But yeah, already some interesting things to talk about. I mean, now the blind ban phase, I honestly blank. Now, Parasite Tremble was blind banned from tdM. I'm blanking if they banned Tremble last game. I think they might have.
Yes.
Okay, they did. So yeah, kind of something over there that Lions perhaps has a solid Tremble player. And then
Super KGE is very good at it.
Super KG, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then, it's so routine. If you're going to have either Wild Soul or Keeper of the Forest still left open, first slot keeper. Sure enough, we see that here from tdM. And then on top of that, they happen to get a first pick Zephyr, which I'll let you go over here with the bans and whatnot.
Oh, man, it's just so strong. The lock pool looks so strong. I mean, everything other than Slither there is a top tier pick. And then the first pick, Zephyr, like you said, that's the makings of a fantastic team. But let's take a look at the heroes that aren't going to be making it in. Miraxus, Tundra, and Plague Rat are being banned out by Minuts. So getting rid of a couple of your strength initiators there in Miraxus and Tundra, and a lot of the map control with that bird being removed from the game. Plague Rat, also the suicide. Minuts just does not want to have to deal with that, same as last game. Engineer, Silhouette, and Pebbles on the other side. So Hanskin getting rid of one of the stronger combos in the game right there between the Engineer and the Pebbles. And, of course, a great carry in Silhouette also going to be removed. Picks number 2 and 3, Breaky. What are they?
Well, Demented Shaman Torture, and the first thing that comes to my mind is that's more of a... We're kind of forced to take at least Demented Shaman here, because, again, we saw the last game, we talked about the potential, and we saw the power of it in that game, the laning phase specifically. Demented Shaman and Zephyr, it is very difficult to play against, especially if you want to match up a 2 versus 2 like they did with even the Pebbles of Luna, in its own right, a very powerful lane, of course. But Pebbles was just way too vulnerable, and that proved to be the difference maker in that laning phase for tdM last game. So again, not that that's bad. I mean, Demented Shaman's a very good hero in his own right, but I do feel like that's more of a forced pick for Lion eSports Club. Now, I'm curious to see if they use it more of a solo role or perhaps to support themselves. Again, usually like to see a solo unless you have it paired up with something like Zephyr. Torture, another just solid pick. You have a Glacius response so far coming out for Trademark eSports, so that's definitely a hero that can lane just fair with Zephyr. And then their third pick is actually going to be Draconis, so more of that right-click carry potential hero coming out on top of the Zephyr even.
So Lions' response to this, they have 2 major options right here. They can choose to go an extremely aggressive early game route and just trying to out-gank tdM and try to shut down their Zephyr and Draconis before they can become huge threats, before Noob G gets 600 gold per minute on the Dragon, because that's going to happen. Eventually, if this game goes long enough, tdM will always find the farm for their carry. So they can either try to shut it down, or they can try to out-carry it. I think out-carrying it with a Moon Queen, which is probably their best bet, maybe a Dark Lady, I don't think that's necessarily the best idea. And it looks like Lions kind of agrees as they finish out their standard pool here with a Luna. And going into the lock pool, I mean, the thing that most resembles a carry there is Wretched Hag, which also has great early and mid-game potential.
Ophelia Tempest is what I'm seeing here. I mean, you could do something like Ophelia Bubbles instead, but I think you're kind of right. Going for more just that aggressive, we need to push earlier on, we need to win an early game here. Ophelia Tempest can make a lot of sense for that. That would mean Tempest Suicide, and again, as Trout loves to say, he's not a huge fan of Tempest. If you are going to Suicide a Tempest, at least on the Hellborn side, there is that somewhat advantage over the Legion side where you get those Ancients to work with. But I could also see a Bubbles Ophelia here. But Ophelia, no doubt, has to be picked up here if you're Lion Esports Club. I cannot see her not being picked up. There we go. And they are going to go the Tempest route. So, again, it is a little bit of give and take here. I could have definitely seen the Bubbles as well, fitting more so in that Suicide. But they are going to go with the Tempest Suicide. This does give them a lot of mass push potential, and excited to see what they do with that. And more than likely, this means, too, we are going to see something like a Demented Shaman short top with your Torturer Aluna lane, perhaps mid, with a Torture more so the farm. So we'll see how tdM finishes now.
Yeah, if Super KGE does play that Demented Shaman, then I completely agree with you. Most likely, he's going to be playing that short lane top. This does leave you with a long lane Tempest, the Suicide Tempest, which has been discussed by a lot of players as to whether it's good or not. I know that Trout, I think he finally decided that it was not good. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, yeah. He just makes the point. He's not a huge fan of it. Now, especially you got to also look at the matchup that we have this game. It is going to be most likely be a Tempest Suicide versus a Draconis short lane here, and I think it's safe to say Draconis should actually fare fairly well against a Tempest in the matchup. And the dangerous thing is also using those minions for Tempest. That could also give more farm for Draconis. So you just got to be really careful. And again, I just don't think Tempest may have the greatest time at the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. Draconis already moving up into the position, though, to possibly go long lane, which would be very, very interesting, as I would expect Hag to be going there, being played by Zai. Now, they, of course, did finish out their team there with the Wretched Hag pick after Keeper of the Forest from the Lock Pool. So let's talk a little bit about tdM's lineup. They have a very, very strong lineup. Being able to get that Glacius Zephyr dual lane, their solos with Draconis and Wretched Hag, both of them with high carry potential. And then the jungle being played by Minuts. Keeper of the Forest going to be able to provide them with some great team fight and awesome pushing ability.
Yeah, my only concern, if anything, for tdM, again, in the end, it is a very powerful lineup, but you look at the spread farm. I mean, you do have a Draconis, a Zephyr, a Wretched Hag, and then ultimately even a Keeper of the Forest, especially earlier on, who are going to want some good farm. So it's going to be interesting to see how Trademark Esports spreads that out. But nonetheless, a very powerful lineup and a lot of potential all throughout the game. Now, another thing that's also interesting here, the more I'm thinking about as we are sitting in this pause, and you imagine, we see Draconis heading towards the top lane, and I kind of wonder if that's because they expect maybe a pseudo tri-lane here from Lions to be aggressive, which is very possible. You could send Ophelia in the Legion jungle, have something like that Torture Aluna lane, and make it a pseudo trial lane. So as a result of that, instead they wouldn't want to send Hag at the bottom, and then have Draconis match up, say, against this Tempest here at the top lane instead. So that perhaps could be what tdM's thinking, and perhaps they could be correct on that. I'm very curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, neither of us know, but I kind of am hesitant to say that. Wretched Hag does have a ward on her already that's been donated to her by Insania, which leads me to believe that she's going to be going up into that top lane. Perhaps Draconis just heading up there for now, maybe hoping that his team will come along to try to make sure that they are able to get the ward down. And I really do feel like putting the Tempest in the middle lane and then doing the pseudo tri-lane long could kind of hinder the ability of this Torture and Aluna combination to actually shut down the Zephyr with the Demented Shaman, or excuse me, the Zephyr Glacius lane that's most likely going to be going mid. I feel like a Tempest against that is going to get 0 farm and going to be in a position where he can get himself killed rather frequently. So I don't know if I would like that situation much more. Although I don't really like the Tempest going against a solo Draconis bottom either.
Yeah, you are right. I mean, if anything, I can see the positive of that would be it sets up your push at the bottom lane a lot easier, you know, with that affiliate down there, and having Torture and Aluna. Torture definitely brings some own push power himself. But yeah, we'll see what they ultimately end up doing. It looks like, as you mentioned, Wretched actually did pick up that ward aside, but she is actually still heading bottom. So
you're right. You're right. They are going to send the Draconis and the Glacius top. And with that, against a Demented Shaman, Draconis will be able to farm relatively effectively. And with no jungler there just yet, Ophelia going to the bottom lane for now, they actually will probably need to do a lane swap here. unless Ophelia is looking to gank extremely early and aggressively on the middle lane and then start to push aggressively in the bottom lane, that's the only way that this pseudo tri-lane is going to work for them against Wretched Hag. Otherwise, they're going to be losing the top lane pretty severely, allowing Draconis to get that free farm, and they're not really going to be able to kill the Wretched Hag too much. The Chain Reaction, the Emerald Lightning are great, unless Ophelia is there with the lockdown from a Skeleton King and even perhaps a Minotaur as well. This Wretched Hag should be able to survive down here. Zai, I mean, he's going to be able to find some farm against this lane, so I don't know if it's going to work out for him.
Yeah, I still don't know. I mean, you do have Tempest, who's actually lining up. I mean, sure, he could just be here to deny, but he actually did go a Guardian Ring still, and that tends to usually you would see the more never really in the middle lane. That is more of a side lane build in the end. So I still think it may end up being a Suicide Tempest here, but just more so an aggressive Ophelia. So not even necessarily a pseudo tri-lane, almost like a pseudo dual lane here, coming at the bottom lane. A Luna Torture should perhaps finish off mid, though, and then sure enough, Demented Shaman in the short. So it looks like that's how Lion Esports Club figures it's going to make sense. And again, from my logic, you know, you made the point, sure, Draconis may make it a very good farm here early on, and that is dangerous, but again, if you're this Hellborn team, you're not necessarily worried about that because your game plan is ultimately we need to push early on, we need to get towers killed, and we need to set up some aggressive ganks. We can't worry too much about how good of a farm certain heroes like Draconis has early on because ultimately that won't matter until, say, that mid to late game stage, which by that point, they want to be ahead to the point where it's over. So I can definitely see what Lion Esports logic is here. It's just now a matter of executing it.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Ophelia, I do like her position in the jungle now that they have the lane set up in this way. I think that she's going to be able to apply pressure to the bottom and the middle lanes, and she's also going to be able to harass Keeper the Forest. Keeper can do a pretty good job against maybe a War Beast or something like that, and maybe even against a Parasite. Will be able to get some pretty significant farm, but Ophelia is stealing his jungle and utilizing some of these creeps like a Vagabond Leader, a Catman Champion, or even a Minotaur. We'll be able to get some pretty decent harass on Minuts if they should choose to come to a head here at some point. And I think that if she's able to get a Minotaur or a Skeleton King, that she should be able to set up a gank on the middle lane. Taking down that Glacia is pretty easy, but already you see a great Ward of Sight being placed right here by Zai. That's going to be covering the path that the offensive Ophelia would take. And the Keeper of the Forest even gets the last hit right there on the Vagabond Leader, so just giving him a little bit of farm.
Yeah, that's a big no-no. That you cannot allow that to happen. I mean, that's just kind of ridiculous, honestly. That Handskin was like, here's a present for you. Here you go. Here's a free Vagabond Leader kill. I mean, that's some decent bounty for it. Keeper, again, it's small, but early on, especially, that's not something you want to be doing. So it seems like already this plan of sending the aggressive Ophelia, that's a little bit of a mistake right there, but it's still way too early to tell exactly how much of the ultimate impact it's going to have. Again, I know you keep going back to, you know, getting that Minotaur, getting that Catman Chamber, or Skeleton King, or whatever, to go over the gank, but again, I think it goes back to, honestly, more so, if you're Ophelia, really just focus on getting level 5. Getting a level 5, getting those 2 minions, and then maybe going to the bottom lane and setting up a push as a result. Because Wretched Hag, she's very difficult to gank, as it's quite obvious. So don't necessarily risk spending the time. Just instead get to level 5, then group up and go for the push. And I kind of feel that's what Hanskin's doing here. Yeah,
I could certainly agree with you, but you know, I would venture as far to say that tdM really did get a much better draft here. I feel like Minuts, you know, heralded by even your organization, HoNcast, as the best drafter of 2012. Yeah. He's done a very good job ensuring that his team has another great draft right here. And Lions, they were trying to deny heroes rather than picking their own good heroes, as Draconis has taken a lot of pressure up here. Will have to fall back.
Well, exactly. I mean, you can look back at the banning. Again, I'm not exactly sure how it played out, but it looked back at the banning phase alone. I mean, the fact that they left both Zephyr and Demented Shaman even open, like I stated, it really did kind of seem like they were forced to pick up Demented Shaman. Speaking of Demented Shaman, maybe in trouble.
He certainly might be up top. Where's the Dragon Flame? Not going to use it just yet, and Insania didn't get the message. He was going for a bit of a dive there. Interesting there from Noob G. I mean, I know the Dragon Flame would have pushed the Demented Shaman further away, but it would have just been one Dragon Flame and perhaps a couple of auto attacks. Now they might be going back in for Demented Shaman, though. Blazing Flight activated. Chandra Blast going to be used, but no, Demented Shaman able to escape once again, and now Ophelia the one in trouble. Nice creep blocking with those cacti, and she will go down. Double damage even spawning down here, so Keeper the Forest going to try to get that. No, Hag with the blink, and now Luna's going to be in some trouble. The Lion Squad perhaps giving up a couple of early kills. No rotation just yet from Torture. He should be making his way over there. No, not going to be just yet. And the Catman Champion even gives him a stomp for their time.
Yeah, that could have really started a big snowball there in favor of tdM, but still, just getting the 1 kill alone on Ophelia is absolutely huge, because this does two things. One, it slows down Ophelia's farm in the end, of course, and she is still level 3 for that matter. Her GPM not the most impressive, only 140. And then two, it is actually going to force her in a sense to just go to this top lane now, or top jungle I should say, and farm up here. So that takes away the pressure, the idea of getting level 5, pushing this bottom lane, and at least getting some work done with that. That's not going to happen anymore. And so now Trademark eSports, excuse me, Lion, is finding themselves in already somewhat of a tough spot here. And I think you're right. I mean, you can really look at the overall draft and how this went. It just no doubt just seems to be a lot stronger for tdM and just how it comes together. I mean, sure, you look at the 5 heroes on Lion side, it actually is very strong 5 hero power when you look at it from a whole, but the laning phase, you know, really putting it together, it did seem like it was going to be a little bit awkward, and I think we're kind of seeing that here. So,
yeah, we most certainly are. But like you said, Ophelia moving up to the top. The Legion team is aware, and they're going to be looking for her right now, using the Ice Imprisonment onto the Skeleton King. Dragonflame will finish off the first one, and second one going to be going here in favor of Noob G. They're going to try to get in there. Ophelia using the Judgment onto Draconis. Demented Shaman gets the Entangling Root onto Draconis. There is the root, or excuse me, the Dragonflame, and Draconis will go down. They're going to man up onto Glacius as well. Healing Wave comes out. There's the power throw, and they will be able to get this kill onto Insania. So a great double tap kill there for Super KGE.
Yeah, that could have just as easily gone the other way. It was very close, but the fact that they barely stayed alive and then turned that around, double tap for Super KGE indeed, and just like that, there's some good momentum, some necessary momentum coming out for Lion Esports Club. And you know, Super KG on Demented Shaman, his creep farm hasn't been that great, although actually now I'm looking at it, it's actually pretty comparable. 22 24, he is actually defeating Draconis. I'm very shocked by that. I thought for sure Draconis was actually going to be in a pretty solid spot when it came to his farm out there comparing to the DS, but maybe they've just been going for too many kills. DS might also at the same time probably using that healing wave effectively and getting some nice last hits with that himself. So he's actually performing very solid, and the fact that he's now at 300 GPM, close to Torture being his teammate, who's just under him. Again, some good news here for Lion Esports Club.
Yeah, it certainly is. And speaking of good news, though, tdM, take a look at the GPM tab here. 361 gold per minute on Keeper of the Forest. I mean, that is after a Bloodlust kill, so we always want to talk about how that's a little bit inflated. But he's also done a fantastic job. 46 creep kills here at 7 minutes into the game. Minuts, he's farming fantastic at this point. And now Zai actually making his way up into the top lane as Wretched Hag. Gonna have to blink into the woods now. And, well, could be in a lot of pressure. The Catman Champion actually falls to a Sonar Scream, so maybe relieving himself of some of that pressure now. But what do you think about Wretched Hag being moved up here into the Suicide now?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting change, and again, it kind of goes back to what, Ophelia's in a lot of trouble, but no, she will get away. Wretched Hag figuring it's best not to blink back in. She would have been out of mana, so probably definitely the safe route for Zai, and probably the smart route in the end. Meanwhile, the middle lane Torture getting gusted in, but he will actually survive, as Zephyr was by himself at that time, so going very aggressive, but in the end, no kills really happening. But yeah, about this adjustment, I think it just simply goes back to the starting of this game, where I was kind of, looking it over, and if they are going to run a pseudo tri lane, sending the Draconis top does make a little bit more sense, but they didn't do that in the end. It was more of a pseudo dual lane, so why not just send the Wretched Hag top? Why not have her suicide in the end, and have Draconis come down here and get what should ultimately be some great farm, especially compared to that top lane. So, and I think that's just a really big reason why tdM decided to just kind of go with this in the end.
Yeah, and I think they did make the correct decision here. Wretched Hag against an Ophelia Demented Shaman should do relatively well. Now, here's part of the issue, though. Ophelia now level 5, like you talked about, and is going to be able to start the push, but look at her levels compared to that of Minuts. Level 5 versus level 8, and Hanskin does pick up some Steam Boots very early on in Ophelia. Typically, we would see maybe some Plated Greaves or the starts of an Astrolabe. Is in the bottom lane. Krebson in some serious trouble. Gonna drop the Elemental Void and does grab 2 targets, but no follow-up.
Guys?
Team? No, nobody going to be coming in, as Wretched Hag will be taking a lot of pressure here in the top lane. Will escape for now. The tower does fall, though, and that's the
Domestic Shaman at a heal right there. I'm pretty. I mean, I looked at him. I could have. Maybe it was just coming off cooldown, but I'm kind of shocked that wasn't even attempted to use right there. So missing a kill, perhaps. But they did get the tower kill, as you mentioned. So to cut you off right there. But meanwhile, the bottom lane, the bottom tower is also now probably going to fall in favor of the Legion team. And vulnerability coming out, but it's going to be very close. I think Aluna just not more that she's going to be able to do. So yeah, tower will go down in favor of tdM at least.
Yeah, they do even up the hero skill in that fashion. But top lane, this tower is going to be going down certainly. Is it going to be denied? Wow. No, it will in fact fall. It's in the middle lane. Torture gets cleaned up by Limp. So on the bird once more, as Wretched Hag does go down to the top lane. The entangling root getting the last hit there, and Super KGE off to a serial killer streak.
Wow, you know, Zai completely got caught off guard there. Great job by Hanskin. Got to give credit to him there, landing a Minotaur stun, and they're going to keep this push even going a little bit more. They are going to start falling back, it looks like, but holy crap. I mean, I can't say I saw that coming here. In favor of Trademark eSports, they take out the top two towers, and look at the goal lead. It is practically identical here, especially as a result of that. So Demented Shaman and Hanskin on that Ophelia, I guess Demented Shaman being played by Super KGE, they really deserve a lot of credit right here as to why Alliance is actually, well, if anything, fairly even right now with Trademark eSports in this game. The experience is still slightly in favor of tdM by actually a decent amount, 2200 experience, but overall, actually, Lion eSportKLUBB not in the worst of situations, especially when you compare it to kind of like last game. And this is that moment though. So it's a great push up top. Now they're going to start getting their first couple of core items here. You know, how will they use those items is the big key. You know, grouping up, making some more pushes happen, because they have a lot of team fight potential. So we'll see if they can put it together now.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they're going to have to coordinate. They're going to have to approach this nearly perfectly if they want to take a win off of Trademark, because one false move, giving up one hero kill, stopping a push short, or even losing a team fight could very well be the straw that breaks the camel back, and tdM could start to snowball out of control with their Draconis, with their Zephyr, with their Hag, these heroes that do farm so well. And so we're going to have to see some very, very skillful play here from Lions if they do want to take this decent start that they've had and extend that into a possible win here.
You know, I do kind of take that back a little bit, what I just said, where there's a great team fight potential on Lion, because the more I look at it, it's actually a lot better on Trademark eSports. And so really it comes down to Lion eSportKLUBB. It's more so they need to just make sure to finish this game, do more things sooner on than later, because they're not going to match up against tdM's lineup at all when it comes to team fight, when it comes to carry potential. It's not going to happen.
Bottom lane, the entangling root. There's the Glacial Blast as well. Blazing Flight deactivated now on Draconis, and one more auto attack finishes him off. Well, top lane though. Torture gonna try to grab that haste rune. Glacius gets it instead though. The Typhoon on top of Torture right there. And Zephyr trying to bring him down. Emerald Lightning going to stop Torture for now. Hasted Glacius wants to get back in there, but no. The Judgment will be used, and Torture will take his trip to town momentarily. It's in the bottom lane.
Oh.
Wow. Did you catch that one?
Catch it. No, I didn't catch it. I just saw the message pop up, and all of a sudden Zai is dead. Zai not having the greatest of game here to start. I mean, usually he plays a fantastic Wretched Hag, but he's 0-2-1 here, and they're going to also now put a lot of pressure on this bottom tower as a result of that. By the way, I mean, look at Tempest. Not only he didn't use his ultimate right there, but he actually goes Ghost Marchers as his first item, and that is Ghost Marchers you never see on Tempest. The middle tower in the meantime is also going to be pushed in. Lion eSportKLUBB is really connecting very nicely by Keeper the Forest coming in with a level 11. He has his root up. He's going to root right there, but zero follow-up coming out.
He might be in some trouble, actually.
In trouble. Yeah. Holy crap.
Well, Dragon's trying to come back in, though. Ophelia's in position as well. Used the Judgment, I believe, onto Demented Shaman, so he should be taking a trip. Yeah, does fly back home. Going back to those Ghost Marchers, this is actually something that I've seen more and more a little bit recently. I've seen it from a couple of these higher tier European teams. I've seen it from Druids, actually. Their temp player chooses to go Ghost Marchers. I've actually seen it from Minuts a couple times in the past week or so. So some people just choosing to go this route, they like the mobility afforded to them by these Ghost Marchers, just able to get into position if they're not choosing to go a Portal Key, which that's what I generally see, is that they go Ghost Marchers and then they delay the Portal Key. Instead, getting some different items. I've seen Push Sticks, I've seen Energizers, Astrolabes, all before getting a Portal Key, but most of them do get a Portal Key eventually.
Well, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying there, and I agree. I mean, especially in this game, I think it does make a lot of sense. I don't think a portal key is really going to bring a whole lot to you. There's plenty of ways on this Legion side to ultimately stop the Tempest ultimate, especially with the Keeper of the Forest, or even with the Shrunken Head, it won't matter, as we talk about all the time. But with the strategy that they're going for, just group up, mass Zerg kind of push strategy, it makes more sense to get that, to get those more support style items. Now, granted, you do have an Astrolabe on Ophelia. Of course, that is more of an item for her, so I am kind of curious how Tempest does follow this up. But yeah, I don't think Portal Key is necessary, but it still goes. I mean, Ghost Marchers, I still think Steam Boots are just ultimately the better choice, just for survivability purposes and to be able to change it and whatnot. But in the end, the Ghost Marchers has that great catch potential. But look, they're breaking into the base here.
Yeah, they certainly are. Zephyr using the Gust to try to push them back just a little bit. The Glacial Blast now onto Zephyr. Dragonflame going to be able to push back a lot of creeps right here. Ophelia Heal not going to be coming out just yet. And the Legion team will be able to defend their base for now. Hellborn just starting to fall back. Legion does manage to push middle and top towers, so putting themselves within 2 in terms of tower score now. And that's a great job to actually be able to get the counter pushes going on, knowing that they can't necessarily stop the push outside of their base. And with that, able to get 2 other tower kills. So a great job there. They're able to retain the gold lead, even falling this far behind as... Did you just see what I just saw?
He sold it. I'm pretty sure that was just a pure troll.
Okay.
If anything, or maybe just a misclick, but yeah. So I was like, what? But no, there's no way.
I've seen it before in Chinese Dota on Enigma. I have seen it before with a Vanguard or a Helm of the Black Legion in this game, and a Shrunken Head or the Black King Bar equivalent. Now, bottom lane once again being pressured heavily. The Legion team not looking to go anywhere, knowing that they are not going to be able to take this game much later without having some serious problems. As Keeper of the Forest is actually 1,000 gold away from a refresher.
Wow, now that is actually very interesting. But again, I think that just goes back more to just a mass push over here. From the Hellborn side, but here we go.
That blast coming in, only going to hit Demented Shaman though, and not going to have a whole lot of follow-up. The Emerald Lightning going to be able to push them back. Chain reactions coming in. Both teams kind of hesitant to fully engage right now, and in the end, the Legion team looks like they're going to be able to escape for now. There's the Haunt onto Torture, and they're going to try to get a better setup. The Judgment being used onto Torture as he's going to be sent home any second now, and well, it looks like the Legion team will be able to escape. Ophelia, no, she gets caught out. Nice Gust right there from Blimp, and Hanskin will take the fall here. And, well, good job from tdM to not only defend, but also to get a pick off right there.
Yeah, not the worst deal in the world. Again, it's a case that they only had 1 person die right there. It's actually not too bad for Lion Esports Club, but more importantly, you made the point, especially when they killed both the middle and the top tower, kind of in exchange to Trademark Esports. It's exactly what they need to do. You're right, because especially when we're only 17 minutes into the game now, Lion Esports Club, sure, they've already been knocking on the door a little bit. They've applied some decent damage to the tower, but it's very, very difficult. I don't care what lineup you have. Very difficult to break into the base this early on into the game. And it's not like Lions even has a lead at this point. tdM actually has the lead, both in 2,200 gold and 6,200 experience. So Trademark Esports understands that Lion is in that kind of desperation mode of, we need to make this happen. We almost kind of force ourselves to try to make this happen. So sure, they had to fall back right there. They had no choice. And this also kind of frees up some time to talk about these item pickups that you're mentioning. I mean, Keeper of the Forest going straight Restoration Stone. I mean, I say straight right after, of course, Ghost March is a Ring of Sorcery, but no Portal Key, no nothing else, no Soul's Borg, anything like that. I mean, going straight into the Restoration Stone here. Very interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting, but he has the farm for it. 450 gold per minute. He's been able to sustain that farm, been able to find the farm, and what we talked about earlier is a kind of a farm-starved game with Zephyr, Draconis, and Wretched Hag all trying to get that farm. It looks like Minuts was the one that actually successfully managed to grab it in the jungle in the early game, being involved in a few kills and getting some tower push going on. And with that early Refresher Stone, that's actually a great anti-push mechanism. Disabling the auto attack, disarming for all the players that are caught in it, and of course cleaning up a ton of creeps. 2 roots will kill every single lane creep that's in there, and probably put a big hurt onto a lot of the Ophelia minions, the elemental minions as well. So it really is a great anti-push potential. And,
yeah.
Well, I really kind of do like the choices. He's going to be able to finish it up right now. We'll see if he does choose to save for a portal key. I think he'll finish up this Resto Stone, though, as soon as possible.
Yeah, you bring up some great points. It synergizes beautifully with their team, as it does with most teams, to be honest. But exactly, you know, they don't need now, if Tempest actually was going for a portal key, then I think we would be more inclined to see my nuts perhaps to say, okay, maybe I do need a portal key myself. But he's very aware, and it was pretty obvious that Tempest really wasn't going to be going for one. In fact, he just finished a tablet of command here, so he doesn't feel that they need to be able to jump in and initiate first against this Lion team, because Lion, with no portal key Tempest, I mean, they don't have that jump in potential themselves, so they're not worried about that. They know that Keeper of the Forest can kind of, you know, risk just sitting back a little bit and then eventually trying to sneak it with Nature's Veil, or if anything, just root once the fight starts. And having that double root, though, exactly, it'll stop. It's great for stopping those mass pushes that most likely will eventually come out here from Lions as we progress on this game. So, although it's different, it makes a lot of sense why my nuts here on the Keeper of the Forest definitely went that route. But here we go, Lion eSportKLUBB. They got the token to life now. On Torturer, actually. We'll see. We'll see if they can make something happen here.
We'll see indeed. Tablet of commands picked up now on 3 players. Demented, Shaman, Torture, and Tempest all grabbed one. Zai doing another fantastic job of counter pushing, saying every time you guys come into the bottom lane, you're going to lose a tower somewhere else on the map. And with that, make it 4 for tdM. The anti-push potential is there. Draconis not able to finish up that Nullstone yet. Still has plenty of mana regen. As the Plated Greaves come in, the defensive tower going to start to take some pressure here. Not a ton, though. Impalement being activated as well. Chain reaction onto Zephyr. They might want to go in on that. Push stick out of the base, but still not going to capitalize on Zephyr perhaps being a little bit too far forward. They don't want to have to fight. They just want to take down that tower and start working on the racks, as Zai is continuing to counter push in the middle lane.
Yeah, the sacrificial stone pickup on Demented Shaman, of course, smart, especially in this case. But you're right. I mean, Zai pushing this middle lane. He's going to go to the Courier as well.
Oh, man.
Nothing on it, but that is unfortunate here for the Hellborn team. They will have to get a new one if, depending on, of course, what happens after this fight. But Zai's like, you know what? I can port back to base with this Homecoming Stone when I feel necessary. Right now, there's no point. I mean, we have great clearing potential without him even. They have the double root threat. They have Zephyr, who's just tanky as heck, as you would expect. Then, of course, you got Draconis, who actually is getting very close to a Nullstone. But he has level 2 ultimate, I think, more importantly at this time. And it's looking grim, honestly, for Lion eSportKLUBB as far as breaking into the base here. And they're going to lose the middle tower.
Yeah, and just like that, all of a sudden, you're at 5 tower kills apiece, and tdM getting further and further ahead at this point, doing a great job of defending. As Torture is going to man up right here. There's the chain reaction to Impalement. Zephyr going to get absolutely exploded. Elemental Void going to be going down, not going to catch anybody. Torture comes back up. There's the first push stick. He needs more push sticks to get out of there. Nice chain reaction. Sending Torture is actually going to try to run away. Root going to catch him, though. And Torture will fall. Zephyr actually buying back. Luna going to go down as well. Wretched Hag in the vicinity with the Hellflower. Not going to be able to catch anyone just yet. Might be looking for Ophelia, as Ophelia will be making her way into the jungle. Tempest also spotted out by a Ward of Sight, and Hag is going to try to run down this Ophelia, see if she can get the haunt and the body blocks, give her team some time to catch up, or if she just applies that Hellflower and just goes for the kill right then, right there. There's the haunt, and they're going to turn it around. Wretched Hag takes the root right there, and here comes the healing wave, and Hag will go down. Bat Blast hitting 2 players, though, and there's the Typhoon on top of Demented Shaman. He's taking a ton of damage, so Ophelia Hill going to be going out, and Demented Shaman with the cape will start to regen. Not going to be enough, though, and he does go down. A timeout right now on Lions. Torture, actually. Yeah. Oh, man, he's offline right now. That is so unfortunate.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, again, I really think that was kind of Lions, like, all in. Like, this is it for us. We need to have this happen if we want to win this game. It didn't happen. I mean, the burst was beautiful on Zephyr. Zephyr did drop like it's hot. That was a great start for them. But it really goes to show you just the power of Trademark Esports as a whole. As I stressed earlier, I mean, the team fight over here on the Legion team is very, very powerful, and they kind of showed that right there. It's so difficult to break into the base, especially this early on. Again, to stress that, and it just wasn't able to work out for Lion. So.
Yeah, in the end, the tower does live in the bottom lane with 198 life. And Flensmeister reconnecting right now, so we'll see if this game gets started up pretty soon here. Keeper of the Forest did not even have to use his Resto Stone in that fight. His ultimate is available in another 60 seconds. And with all of his team up here, they might try to start a push. Of course, Zai down for 30 more seconds as a result of that death. And Zephyr had to buy back, but he is now up in the front lines as we're going to get back into this game.
Yeah. We'll see if tdM finds it necessary to actually break into the base here. I mean, they do have a Hag down where Demented Shaman is dead here. of course, online esports club. But yeah, it's they're not in any rush, excuse me, by any means. If anything, just finish this last outer tower, which that's exactly what it looks like they're going to do. This bottom outer tower is going to fall right here, and are we actually? Lion may even try to stop this. I don't know. I mean, this is going to be interesting. If they are going to fight it, actually. I thought for sure that was going to be a tower kill, but no, Lions does make their presence felt, and it is enough to get tdM to fall back, actually. So, but again, if you're tdM, a big reason, you're not looking to force fights. You have a comfortable lead, you have the mid, especially the late game over this Hellborn team, and you know that Lion, again, they continue to be kind of in that desperate mode. So Lion is going to regen here, they are going to regroup, and yet again, it looks like they're heading right towards the bottom lane, so we'll see what they make happen now.
Yeah, they're going to try to push down that Rax. The counter push coming in, though, as tdM says, remember this game? Yeah, this is what we're doing here. And Keeper of the Forest up in the front lines with Draconis, going to be able to put out some pressure on this tower for sure. And this is going to become a base race situation. Lions is all in on trying to base race their opponents, knowing that they're far behind, and this is something that they might have to do. Glyph of Fortification goes up back at home for Lions. Both sides now using the Glyph, and the tower goes down first in favor of tdM. The Rax now starting to take some pressure, but Impalement no longer available as Keeper of the Forest is actually going to buy a TP scroll. Not going to be going for the base race situation after all. Rax sub 100 health, or sub half life right there. And Aluna in some trouble, gets gusted back in. Demented Shaman trapped by the Typhoon as well. Aluna will take the fall. Ophelia now in some serious trouble. The Cataclysmic Assault damage from Draconis, able to bring her down. Torture now the next one in line. The Gust going to be able to push them away, in fact, as the healing wave comes out from Demented Shaman. There's the sonar screen. Torture is going to fall, and Demented Shaman going to be falling shortly thereafter, trying to hide into the trees. The Bat Blast does actually whiff, but there is the Gust from Zephyr, and that's gonna do it for this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's obviously again it's just too much for Lions to handle. They tried their best. Again, they kind of were forced in that all-in style of strategy of really needing to break into the base. In fact, C-Minus jumping in right here with his first root going off. He doesn't have, he actually does have another one. If he get the rest of the stun, he's going to get turned on actually, so he's a little bit too cocky there. However, Torture is going to get gusted in, and Torture will fall, so Flensmeister going down. And here go the Rax in favor of the Legion team actually. When you look at it, Wretched Hag also blinking in the background. Haunt is applied to Luna. Ophelia's going to heal up. They do have some great stay alive potential on this Hellborn side. Another Gust going to be used. Zephyr maybe in some trouble. Tempest ultimate holding him back actually. Chain reactions won't connect, and Zephyr will fall. Glacius also going to be picked off here to the side. It looks like auto attack to finish him off. And Keeper of the Draconis, excuse me, he's on the run too. We'll have another Blazing Flight coming up, but this could be close actually to him getting away. There's a tablet coming up at Tempest, but no, it looks like Draconis should be fine. Oh, maybe not actually. Those Ghost Marchers. There's the tablet. Here comes the stun. The Kotar's even blocking a little bit.
They're helping, but no. The Blazing Flight will enable Draconis to get away. And with a lot of players down here from the tdM squad, it looks like Lions is still trying to pursue right now. Striding a Luna, trying to get into position, but now they're going to be looking to actually finish off these racks, which are still at about 50% life. And, well, some players starting to come up right now. In fact, 7 seconds until tdM's going to have 4 up. These melee racks are going to be taking a lot of damage. Glyph Fortification not available. The freeze going to be coming out. There's the first root from Keeper of the Forest. He does not have another one available. And in fact, the Luna already low on life. Going to be coming back up as a result of the cape. And once again, Lions Esports going to have to retreat. Luna gets taken out by the Dragon Flame right there. Ophelia does successfully teleport on out. Torture, though, he does not have a TP scroll. And he's not going to be able to get out of there anytime soon.
I will say, Lion, they are doing a fantastic job of staying alive in a lot of these fights. The teamwork is definitely there. They're supporting each other very well. Ophelia and Demented Shaman are there. The tablets, which now they have 3, I believe. Yeah, Torture, Tempest, and Demented Shaman with Tablet of Command. So they are supporting each other very nicely and trying their best to stay alive in these fights. But again, if you're not actually taking out the racks, while Torture, he did stay in there. And he will take out the melee racks. The Torture now he's going to go for a Homecoming Stone purchase. He will need to sell something, though, real quickly. He does right there, picks it up. Is it going to be able to work, though? Glacial Downpour coming out. There's a chain reaction. His Torture may actually get away.
No.
No, it will not. The freeze happens, and Glacius will pick up the kill. That was close.
It's Sadia with the taunt right there. And Flensmeister takes the fall. The last outer tower is pushed down here by tdM, and they're going to be looking to try to finish up this game by taking this bottom set of racks. With Flensmeister down for 30 seconds, that's one big threat gone, and Zephyr leads the charge right here. Going to be able to take out that creep wave, no problem, in the defensive tower. Now starting to take a lot of pressure as an Abyssal Skull is picked up on Tempest of all heroes. Very interesting pickup, just going for the armor, the mana regen, and a little bit of base damage right there. tdM going to fall back. Actually, Zai taking some Glacial Blasts, but we'll be able to blink out before any more come in.
Yeah, obviously an item like that, again, it's when you have a lineup like they do. Granted, they don't have any melee heroes, so it's not like they're taking advantage of the lifesteal, but obviously Abyssal Skulls plays a lot more than just the lifesteal aura. The big one being the armor, of course, and that's why you're going to get it here in this case. The group up the push, that's why you have the Sacrificial Stone, the Abyssal Skull, the Ring of Sorceries. Do they? Holy, wow, they don't have a Ring of Sorcery, actually. I'm actually a little bit surprised by that. I kind of just expected to see one, but no Ring of Sorcery here on the Hellborn team. But again, I guess not the biggest deal. They definitely... I don't know actually about that. I feel like they should at least have one. But anyways, they got the Astrolabe, just things like that. The Barrier Idol being worked on by Ophelia, it looks like. So just really getting those mass team items, not going maybe the usual that you would expect in certain heroes as a result of their strategy. But so Lions is going to hang in there. I mean, again, this is game number 2, of course. They're down 1-0, so this is it no matter what for them here in cycle number 3 for the Diamond Division for HoN Tour, but Trademark eSports is continuing to be in a very comfortable spot. And now on top of it all, you will have a Draconis who most likely going to pick up his Shrunken Head here. I mean, he has 4,300 gold saved up. He may actually just go straight into the Sacrificial, or wow.
Savage Maze.
Sacrificial Stone, Savage Maze, yeah.
Yeah. Zephyr actually going to get caught right here, and going to take the Glacial Blast as well as the Ophelia's Judgment. Red Power Throw going to connect as well, and there's a lot of players in position. Chain Reactions as well as the Root, and he will go down. TP's going to come back, though, as they need to defend this bottom tower. Minot uses his Portal Key and will be able to escape. Zai taking a lot of pressure from a double-stacked Ancient Camp. He's going to be just fine in the end. But Lions continuing to play hard. They're able to find a pick right there onto Limp, giving him his 3rd death, and still maintaining the defense of their base. So they don't want to go anywhere. This is an elimination match, and they want to go on to face the winner of Complexity versus QSQ in the lower bracket round of 2. Like,
of course, yeah. There's nothing wrong with it by any means. I mean, they have every right to stay in this game because honestly, there is a chance.
Oh,
I mean,
they have
you
push.
Never know. There is a chance. They have pushed exactly. They have, if they can catch tdM perhaps off guard, doing something like a Congo attempt here. But it looks like tdM is fairly aware of what's going on. They are kind of already near the area. And Conger isn't really going down the fastest, so we could have a Conger area fight brewing here in the near future.
Zai also just picked up a Portal Key, as there's a chain reaction onto a couple of illusions, but Portal Key Hag, so the 15-year-old player for tdM, going the ultra-mobile Hag.
Okay, Zai, come on now. He went the mock last game on Keeper, and again, that seemed like a little bit more of a we're ahead, we're just going to have fun. This is definitely that. I mean, it is... Okay, I mean, having a second blink, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but clearly it is making a point that he feels they're in a pretty good spot, and the chances of them losing this is actually pretty slim. I mean, I don't know how I feel. I always am a little bit back and forth about the item pickups like that, but it's his choice in the end, and so yeah, but a little bit silly there.
Yeah, you've got to balance it between saying, oh, it's all in good fun, and okay, that's straight up rude, bad-mannered, whatnot, and I think this is a little more on the side of just having some fun. I mean, these two teams, they play routinely, and they're comfortable with one another. There's no truly bad blood here or anything, and, well, Lions going to try to attempt Conquer once more. The Legion team, though, tdM acutely aware of this situation, and they're going to have everybody move into position. Zephyr going to try to get in there. Glacial Blast going to come out onto him. The Meteor being dropped as well, although Ophelia is going to get caught out right here. Takes the Ice Imprisonment, and Draconis starting to pound in the auto attacks. Ophelia able to escape for now using the Barrier Idol. Hag comes in with the Bat Blast. There's route number 1. Route number 2 comes out, and Torture as well as the Luna are going to be taking the fall. Tempest on the high ground has the Elemental Void available. Not even going to be able to get it off, and he will go down. Super KGE, the only one left alive, does TP away from Zephyr, and with that, tdM will be able to take the Conquer, the racks, and even the lunch of Lions Esports if they want to. They got the run of the place right now as 4 players are down. And this could very well be the game right here. As there's the Hellfire onto Demented Shaman. A buyback there on Tempest. The Elemental Void going to come out, but August is going to interrupt that when a Demented Shaman will take the fall. Tempest still trying to stand strong, but there's the Typhoon on top of Tempest, and Crimson's in some serious trouble. He goes down to the Might of the Dragon, as well as Glacius right there, and a genocide for the Trademark eSports team. They're going to be able to finish off the base. More buybacks, actually. A lot of buybacks coming in. There's the root. Gus back in for Demented Shaman. Pushed back out with number 1 right there. And activating the Barrier Idol. The Ophelia heal going off as well. Mailorax taking a lot of pressure, but Demented Shaman trying to man up on Draconis. Emerald Lightning going to be able to stop them for now. And in fact, Zephyr will go down. But look at Draconis. The Cataclysmic Assault just obliterating 2 members of the Lion team. Make that 4 as a hat trick quad kill comes out for Draconis. GG, well played, coming out from Hanskin, and the vote to concede is going to be going up. It will pass immediately, and Trademark Esports takes game number 2, and they are your victors here in HoN Tour Diamond number 3, lower bracket round of 4.
tdM, obvious dragon pickers. Only reason they won the game, no, it's Trademark Esports. They just held in there long enough to eventually pull through. And the last thing Lion needed right there in a game like that with the situation and everything was to get caught in a team fight where basically wasn't them pushing into the Legion team base. I mean, with that happening, they were just way too spread out. They were not able to support each other like they were when they were pushing into the base, and it just got ugly for them quickly. And then, of course, you had your Draconis, as we saw there at the end. He had his Savage Mace pick up. He realized he didn't necessarily need that Shrunken Head. He can go straight into the Savage Mace, and he ends up with a quad kill. And just the fight before that, he picked up a hat trick, I believe it was. So, yeah, Noob G just got way too powerful. And, well, Trademark Esports as a whole did. So, tdM takes the series 2-0. But Lions, at least they definitely played a much more of a solid game in Game 2. But I definitely think you can look at really both of these games and look at the drafting phase especially. Oh, yeah. And you got to give credit to my nuts, the captain, of course, for tdM and how we just drafted there in that series.
He certainly drafted very well, and a large part of the reason that his team is victorious. So Trademark Esports, the number 1 ranked team in HoN Tour, going to be advancing to the lower bracket round of 2. They, of course, will play, I believe, on Saturday. They're going to be playing against the winner of QSQ versus Complexity. That's going to be taking place in the morning. The afternoon match will have the lower bracket round of 2, and then going into the winners finals as well. I believe that's going to be on Saturday between Stay Green and TT Esports. Awesome matches all weekend long. We're just 2 days away from that, and well, Breaky, that's going to do it for our HoN Tour coverage right now. I want to thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, again, it's a lot of fun just doing these when maybe not expecting to, but this obviously came up, and I was glad to. It's always fun to cast matches, especially in this atmosphere. It's a good change of pace, so appreciate you allowing me to join you.
All right, you have any shout-outs before we let you go?
Shout out to my dad this time.
There you go.
Give my mother a shout out Game 1, so my dad Game 2 only seems reasonable. No, but yeah, again, shout out to everyone tuning in, and thank you again. Shout out to you. I know that you're doing a lot of work yourself to get these going and admitting the in-house league and dealing with all that as well. So you're doing a lot for the community, so appreciate it, Beef Up Pie.
I'm working on it, Breaky. I'm working on it. We do it for the love of the game and for the love of the community. So we just want to bring you guys as much action, as much coverage of all the competitive heroes of New Earth that we have here. So Breaky, thanks again, and we'll let you go. I'm going to continue casting on a little bit later on today. Probably going to do some scrims or some IHLs for now. And then coming up in about 2 hours, I'm going to have the Sound Blaster Heroes League going to have the round 4 match. You guys are going to be covering the finals of that tomorrow, right?
The Sound Blaster, yeah, I believe that is the plan. I'm not exactly sure what time. I think that was either 3 or 4 Eastern, so we're planning on doing that. So, but yes, that is a plan. HoNcast is expecting to cover the Sound Blaster tournament tomorrow. So yes.
All right. Well, Breaky, thanks once more, and I'll let you go now. Have a great Thursday. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you.
Adios. All right, guys. Well, as I said, we're going to take a very quick break here just to get a couple of things done, probably 5 or 10 minutes, and then going to be looking to get into perhaps an in-house league match or maybe some scrims to fill the time for the next 2 hours or so before we do go into round 4 of the Sound Blaster Heroes League qualifier number 2. But I want to give a shout out to all of you for being out there and watching. Without your support, I would not be able to be here and do what I do. And of course, without the help of S2 Games, HoN Tour would not be here. I would not be able to cast HoN Tour matches. So big shout out to them, the admin team over there, Milk Fat, Chuck64, Mr. Old Shadow, Roland, Snoopy, and Inkland. Huge appreciation to all those guys, and of course to Complexity Gaming for allowing me to be here with coLcast as well. You can check them out over at complexitygaming.com, facebook.com/complexitygaming, and Twitter @ComplexityLive. Make sure to give them a shout out and let them know that you do love coLcast being involved in the HoN scene, so that we can continue to provide you guys with coverage of HoN Tour, In-House League, Scrimcast, and of course Sound Blaster Heroes League. Guys, we'll be back in just a few minutes with more coLcast HoN action. I've been your casting host, Beef. Don't go anywhere.